Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about what has been going on for the past couple of days about Mike Brown, Ferguson, Darren Wilson, and just phony white friends. Phony friends who you thought were cool, who you thought, maybe they seem a little bit misguided. Maybe they're appropriating blackness a little bit, but I don't really see an issue with them because it seems like they embrace blackness. It seems like they get it. But then once something like Mike Brown happens and people want to voice their opinions, then it shows people's true colors and that maybe people aren't really the good people that they say they are. And I realized that a lot of people who I thought were friends, who I thought I could trust, turn out to not be good people. I was called an uneducated bitch on Facebook. And first of all, who are you to tell me, a black woman, that she is not educated on a subject that she knows too well about because she lives it every day, and I mean every single day of her life. And I don't want to say like I know what it's like to grow on the streets or that I seen violence or that I was a part of gang lives and that I have in a way been disadvantaged economically and educationally because I do have economic and educational privilege and I own up to that. But at the same time, as a black woman with autism, with Asperger's, high functioning autism, but autism nonetheless, so who is more or less disabled and suffers from anxiety and depression, I have, a big disadvantage in this society. I'm not exactly the most lightest person. I'm brown skinned. I may look a little bit darker in a video, but to most black people, I'm considered light skinned, but not light enough where you can pass or I'm visibly black. Most people perceive me as black. They don't really mistake me as mixed race. And if they do, it has more to do with relative attractiveness to them. Like if someone may find me maybe attractive, then they're like, "Oh, are you mixed?" That anti-black misogynistic stuff. But I've never really been mistaken as mixed unless I have a certain hairstyle or I look a certain way in pictures. Um. Anyway, I've had conversations with people, black people, even mixed race people who are light skinned, who you can tell right away are mixed or their features can indicate that they're not just black or they're not just white. And it kind of intrigued me of the things that they had to say. I had one person tell me, as someone who was raised by a white family, I feel a little bit offended that you and others would vilify white people as, these racist people. And I'm just like, I could care less if they're being vilified because at the end of the day, they're not getting killed for it. They're not being demonized. They're not getting shot by police officers because they perceive them as racist. It's just not a factor. It really is not a factor at all. And to also pretend like you get called racist is the worst thing. No, never. Never mind that Mike Brown is dead. Never mind that many more black boys and black girls and black women and men are being slain on the streets because of vigilantes or racist cops. But now you want me to consider the fact that some white people are getting backlash because of Darren Wilson. I don't care. And this may seem heartless, but I really don't care. And I also don't want to hear about the white savior complex about some white people being good. I don't care that Macklemore went to Ferguson and had one picture. Like that still does not erase the problematic things he has said. It does not erase his homophobia, his transphobia. It does not erase his anti-Semitism. So I could care less. I really can't. He's still a terrible person to me. I mean, it's just so infuriating that white people are coming out of the woodworks and they have not said anything about Ferguson once. But as soon as Darren Wilson was found to not be indicted, and I'm sorry if I said it wrong, indicted or whatever, but as soon as black people wanted to voice their opinions on Facebook, suddenly, well, I don't know what's going on, but I feel offended because I'm a cop or I'm in law enforcement, so you shouldn't say these things because it hurts my feelings. And I've lost a lot of Facebook friends because of what I said and what I stood up for. I posted like 3 statuses, and I did that deliberately to basically weed people out, to see who was real and who was not real. And many people proved to me that they're not worth fighting for. They're not worth wanting to have a relationship with if you can't even have a conversation about important issues such as racism, racialized police brutality, and yes, misogynoir and anti-black beauty standards that privileges white women and anyone of lighter skin. We just can't have that relationship if you don't want to empathize with me. And that's basically what I wanted to say. And I would go into more detail about this, but it's kind of late. It's like 4 o'clock over here, so I'm just going to leave it with this. But I'm going to try and make another video basically going into toxic relationships. People who only like you as long as you don't fit into the stereotypes. You're not black to them until you start acting out or acting like a stereotype. And that could go for those who are light-skinned, white passing, racially ambiguous, mixed race, whatever. But I do want to say briefly that I did get into this altercation on Facebook where girls were coming at me, white girls of course, saying that I was wrong and that I should have defended them because someone from Tumblr, who is now a Facebook friend of mine, basically went off on them. I did not have the energy to tell them, hey, you're wrong. I did not want to talk to them about white privilege. But then when she said something about it, I was like, okay, I'm going to sit back and let this unfold, see what happens. And then they just would not listen. They would not listen. So then they had a nerve to say, well, why didn't you defend me? Defend you from what? You were wrong. Like, they were basically spewing things that the KKK would have said. And that sounds like you want to be them. You want to be a part of the KKK if you believe that because Mike Brown was a thug. They said every anti-black stereotypes that I have seen online. Basically, they turn out to be every white person that I have combated on Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube. Just everything out of the book. I'm not racist, my family's black, I'm not racist, my boyfriend's black, or I got a mixed race son, or my best friend who listens to every problematic thing I say is black, so therefore I'm not racist. No, I was not having that. And I've had my old roommate tell me that she lost friends and that she unfriended them and they unfriended her. But at the moment, it's like, I don't care, because you know who your real friends are and you know who the fake ones are, the phony people who aren't going to have your back. They're going to sit there and say, that's my black friend, but they're not going to be with you when you're facing racial experiences. And the only thing they can say is, well, you need to get over it. If I say a white person that made me uncomfortable, and then they would tell you, well, I'm not racist, but this is how I feel about black people. But yet you can say things about white privilege, or that most of the girls being depicted as beautiful in the media are white and look like them, then that's racist. But I'm supposed to listen to them about how they're not racist for thinking that black guys like to hit on them and all of those ridiculous things that just comes off as just, I don't even want to say it. It's just too much to unpack. But that's basically it. Bye. I don't have my tripod, so that's why I'm not able to make a very good quality video. But see ya.